why it's important to be still and know that I'm God is because you are pregnant with this present moment. You're pregnant with your next moment. And I have to explain that because it was my foundation for understanding why it's so important for me to hold a high note of anything. And we'll talk about what it means to hold a high note, and then we'll talk about the practical tips. But I'm pregnant with my next moment. So nothing is more important than how you feel. And I literally sometimes have to say that to myself at least 3 times in a loop. And then if you ever heard me say it in person, I usually say nothing. And that's how I always say it. Nothing is more important than how I feel because I'm pregnant with my next moment. And my next moment is depending on this. So the way God configured it on planet Earth is from our thoughts to the manifestation of our thoughts. Because, as a man thinketh, so is he. So from our thoughts to the manifestation thereof, there's usually a time delay or gap. Not saying that the more you get in tune with your Holy Spirit, your manifestations might be a little bit, quicker if you get more intentional, etc. But for the most part, most of us have a thought and there's a delayed manifestation. So everything you're experiencing now, show me your life right now, your aspects of life, whether it be love, abundance, you name it. All of that is a result of all of your beliefs and your thought processes from your previous moment. And then you're experiencing it now. Remember that time gap and the delay. So the present moment, that's why they always say there's no moment powerful than the present moment, because the present moment is creating your next moment. So once I realized that my present moment was I'm pregnant with my next moment, I have to protect my baby. And any moms who know this, hey, Mama Bear, Mama bears, where are you at? Even during pregnancy, most of us protected our environmental toxins. We wanted to watch what we were eating. We wanted to be healthier, mind, body, spirit. We protect our growing fetus at all costs. So think of that as your next moment and how you have to protect it at all costs. Energetically, who are you around? What are you listening to? Your portals, your gateways, anything. So you're protecting your baby. And so think of that as your desire or your prayer request, and you're protecting your baby. So moving on. So that's why it's important to hold a high note, because you're holding a high note of what it feels like for it to be done, because to God it's already done. Ask and it is given. So you're holding a high note of love. So that means, and we can go over another video of what it is to hold a note of all these things and how to be in the act of love around the clock, even in the relationship that's not so loving and that's very toxic, or that there's no emotional availability from the significant other or spouse or husband. So you literally have to see past your senses and see that it is done. So in the heart of it, you again choose a new thought and a new emotion. And in the heart of it, you have to literally see past your senses. And we're going to talk about how do we do it, because that's coming up next. But if we stay here, we are holding a high note of love, of abundance. So we're not talking about the lack thereof, etc. So hold a high note. And it's so funny. Speaking of holding a high note, I remember every other facility I've ever gone to, and I've literally been to a lot of places and I've been around dolls, but everybody would always want to know, why is she so happy? I mean, could she really be this happy? And then I usually get, do you get mad about anything? That's usually the going trend anywhere I've ever been or visited. And my answer is no. No, for the most part, no, because I know how important my next moment is depending on this, and depending on how I feel, depending on how high I'm vibrating, because nothing you desire from God is vibrating low. Nothing you desire, none of the good you desire. Now, if you desire anything less than positive, less than high flying, so I say high flying, so high flying disc, high flying note, can you hold the high note of what you're desiring God to do? And it really, to put that in perspective, is faith is unseen. So if when you ask, it is given and it is done, aren't you praising? Aren't you happy that it's done? You're not waiting for it to happen. You're not looking to see if it happened or not. It's done already. So you're acting as if it's already done. And so if I'm already done, I'm not complaining. So I can't complain and have gratitude that something's done in the same breath. It's impossible. Impossible. So, and this is a little longer because I think we need to hear it. We need to hear this, dolls. So listen to it on your way to work if you have to. So that was the conclusion I came with, and that's how I became more cognizant of how I felt and how I want to feel because I knew that I was pregnant with my next woman. So protect your pregnant dreams, visions, whatever God gave you, whatever your desires are. Protect it at all costs. It's your only job, and nothing is more important than how you feel. So let's talk about the practical tips on actually how to be still and know that I'm God. And so I think the first one I would say, is just to detach from all outcome. Detach from the outcome, again, is you're not waiting for it to happen. Actually, there's levels to this, but when you get to a certain level with God, you're really only saying that prayer once. Pray without ceasing. You're praying about other things. Maybe you're praying for other people. Maybe you're praying for our nation. Maybe you're praying for your spiritual gifts, etc. But pray without ceasing, I don't believe it's for me. That's my personal belief with me and my experience. And everybody has their own experience and walk with God and their own revelations. But my experience is I only pray about something once. That's it. Because when I ask, it is given. So I'm not praying about it more than once. I'm asking and I'm receiving. So when I ask for it, I'm moving forward and preparing for what I asked for. And then we could talk about like goal setting and what that looks like, and then actually writing it down and etc. And that's just another video for another time. We have a lot to talk about. But detaching from outcome, again, you're not talking about how lonely you are and talking about, when the holidays hit, how it would be nice if you had, no, because it's done. So you're not waiting for it. And so it's done. And then the next thing I would say is I would literally, if you're holding a note, if you're being still, you need to practice stillness. It literally says, be still and know that I'm God. So there has to be some level of stillness that you have to practice. And we can talk about what that means. And I have my different twists on it. But being still, some people say your mind should never be still in, our walk with God, our faith. But there's a certain level of stillness, I would say. You could be still journaling and letting your Holy Spirit guide you with that, or you can just journal how you feel for the day. So that's a stillness act. If you're meditating on the Word, I think that's another stillness act. So, and you can hear God speak through His Word. One of the key factors and key ways that He actually speaks. So, you could do that. Then also being still would be not beating the drum about what's not there or about the present turn up of the heat, because you're now conscious. The subconscious or the unconscious is now conscious. And so you're not calling your friend and spilling your own tea and sipping your own tea, because there's power in your tongue. And so number one rule, you need to go to stillness. And a part of that is not calling up your friends and talking about what's lacking. Because remember, as you think, so are you. Power of life and death in your tongue. So you could speak life to something or you could speak death to it. And remember, where your focus goes, your energy goes. So you're giving more energy and it's going to expand. So that also goes along with my greatest point, which is ignoring reality, which is going to be your most powerful method to address a current turn up of heat. When your unconscious become conscious and you're in the heart of it, maybe there's a live active argument with the loved one or the significant other. Maybe there's an active bill. Maybe there's an unexpected bill that showed up, and you're expecting God for increase. That in the heart of it, ignoring reality would be one of my most powerful weapons that I use when it comes to being still and knowing that I'm God. And I say, and know that I'm God. But being still and know that I'm God is I literally have to go to La La Land or to Candyland and act as if it's already done. So maybe in the middle of an argument, maybe you'll turn around and start laughing at yourself and like, this isn't even real. Like, you have to literally become delusional with it. Because if faith is unseen, and we are talking about the unseen world, which is what we really are, spirit is unseen, but that's who we are, having a physical experience. So you're not so delusional. So literally, you're in the heart of the argument. Maybe they're like going to the other room, and you're like, you turn around, you start laughing at this is not real, and maybe you could start doing your affirmations about the love you desire and the love you deserve, and that just and go to focusing on love only and just love, love, love in the middle of the argument. So this is what stillness is. Or if there's a bill again, an unexpected bill, or and you're expecting God and your account's on zero. So seeing a positive bank account, and then and being thankful for the bill, like it's done. I'm so happy that it's done. I'm so happy that I'm so grateful for the opportunity to pay bills on time. So literally getting a little delusional with it, ignoring reality. And that's the best way. That's my most powerful weapon, other than everything else we talked about too. But ignoring reality is the way you are still in the middle of an ocean storm. So you're not frantic. You don't respond irrationally. You're not reactive with your emotions in the heart of that issue or the heart of the trigger. You're still in the middle of the ocean storm. And I hope that helps.